What is up, everybody? It's your boy Brian from American Auto. Alright, everybody, we're back. It's another day, and we're going to try using a different tool here. We still got weld in these holes here, and then all along the bottom. I don't know if you can see those or not, but right there where that mirror was at, we got weld those in, and then there's a chrome, a piece of chrome that goes across the bottom of the car that's not going back. So we've already got all the rest of the holes filled in on this car. All right, minus the deck lid, and I'm not touching the ones on the front of the hood just yet because I don't know what's got to go where. And you know, somebody had said, I was making a joke of how do you clean out holes to get the primer out. Yes, I use my pocket knife, but I normally wouldn't do that. But in the process of that, my wonderful wife went out and bought me this set from Grip, and it's a bunch of little wire brushes and stuff, which is great because if I don't use it on here, like these brass brushes, I can use on my guns. That looks like it'll fit a 12 gauge. That's 410, 45, 9mm, all the way down to like a 22. So there you go. Don't judge me too hard, but those holes are filled, and all those down there are filled now. So yeah, I've got way more work to do. So we're gonna get to wheeling them down with the 36 grain, and then and then brrr. Not with this though. We're gonna use that for that and that and that and all the rest of it. Still got to fill in that there with some body filler, just a little skim coat, not much. But guys, the car's starting to come together. So I initially had my doubts, but I'm starting to see the picture on the other end. It's coming along slowly but surely. All right, ladies and gents. So more body work going on. We got that on there. It's drying. We switched up and used a little bit of the harder polyester filler on these spots here, and went ahead and got that covered in, all that covered in, that down there, and all the way across the bottom. And we're gonna let that dry for today and get good and hard, so that way it's not bubbling through. And we had to fix that little patch back there. I wanted to show you guys, but I really couldn't get in there with a camera, a welder, cutter, and all that. But I actually had to cut a piece of metal and put in that because whoever put the rear skins on this car just didn't even bother trying. And it's like that on both sides. So we got that in there. Now I'm going to have to sand that down and then add more to it and just keep working until I get it all even. But we're one step closer on this deal, guys. I still have to cut out the louvers right there and put a plate in, but I'm not doing that today because I'm fixing to shift gears and move on to another customer car that can get done and out of here fairly quick. So that being said, I will see you guys back here in just a second, but for me, it's going to be tomorrow. So yeah. All right, guys. All right, everybody, we are back, and it's another day. It's the next day. We let all this body filler dry overnight on this side, and now we're going to go ahead and get her knocked down. I still have to build this section right here up just a hair. You can barely feel, but it's just a touch low. And yeah, and then we want to get this whole car sanded down, everything out of it, everything off of it, and get it ready to go inside the booth so I can put a few coats of primer on it, which is why we got the junky wheels on it. But I got to get all this other stuff done before I can get it ready for primer. So let's go ahead and knock that out. So I didn't get that down. I didn't get that out far enough from where I shaved the handle. And matter of fact, it looks like it might still be a little low there. But I've heard it said when you put this polyester filler on that you need to sand it down as soon as it tacks up. But I personally have had better results letting it set overnight and then coming out the next day and doing it. Just give it a little more time to harden up. Now, another thing we have to fix that I've already fixed on the other side, whenever the people who put these skins on, they didn't have the doors on the car apparently. let me back this out. They didn't have the doors on the car when they put these rear skins on. So what happened is they just threw them on there and let it ride. Well, the problem is that door is completely shut. You see how far that sticks out right there? All the way down. That's all because this top part of the skin is not correct. Now, let me show you the other side. Now, this is the driver's side, and it was really bad. You can see the body line. There's not really anything I can do with the body line, the door crack here, okay? There's nothing I can do with that to my knowledge. But this one was real bad. This one set in so much you could actually stick your finger in behind there, okay? Now, you can see I got it as straight as possible. The door level here is good. So, but that's just something you deal with this repop metal. It's never perfect. You know, it is what it is. I mean, Auto Metal Direct has about the best that you're going to get, and to my knowledge, but it's repop stuff. So it's not going to line up right. It's not going to be right, yada, yada. But what they didn't realize is this door, right here on the back side of this door, instead of it being flat like this, it actually flares out and round at the same time. So when they put this on there, they just slapped it on and was like, okay, it's good. And that's why this side was inset a lot. Matter of fact, I'll show you. Now I have to fix all this, but if you look down this inside edge, you can see I had to drill all this out, pull it out, and there's nothing in behind this right here. Well, there is now, but there was nothing. Like, it was a gap. So I had to come down the inside and put some tack weld in there. And of course, I've got more work to do to this inside to make it look better, because the wrap's going to come all the way around there. And we don't want that sticking out like that and being ugly. And I still have to, you know, work on this leading edge a little bit. But the bottom side, somehow they managed to get the bottom close. But then they did crap like that. And I'm having to body work that and fix it as best I can. You know, it's just a lot of work to go into this to make it right after someone else. So that's what I've been doing. But this being the driver's side, as you can see, I need to work on that a little bit more. But as far as the leading edge is good. Cut the difference. See that? So that's what I'm gonna work on today, and yeah. And at the same time, I got to get this sanded down. And that will take care of all the body work. Might be able to get all this done today. But the goal is to get this car sanded down. At which point, we'll put up the booth, roll it into the booth, and we're going to prime this car. Prime only, all right? As I said, it's getting wrapped. So I talked with a guy from the wrap company, and he wants me to at least prime the car to make sure everything is level, make sure there's no dips or anything in it, make sure there's no spots I got to fix, and basically just if there's any low cuts in it, because that wrap is supposed to be so thin, it'll be about the equivalent of paint. That's what they said. So we'll find out and go from there. So let's get started, guys. All right, guys. So here we are. Now, overlook this top section here, but if you look at the rest of the door, we are nearly dead money. I can't really do nothing about that because I can't move the B-post out, but I love the whole push button deal here, but it's kind of annoying when you're having to work inside of here. Just saying. But I had to drill all this out from here up to get into it. So that's what I did. And we moved it out. You can see how far in there they had it. And now we need to go through, straighten this stuff back out. But we're going to tack weld it, tack weld it, check it, tack weld it, check it, tack weld it, check it. And then once we get up to the top, I can straighten it out with the top of the door and then tack weld it on the inside. But that's going to take care of that, I think. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave that line like that because the rest of it looks okay. So, but there it is. Well, you see how perfect it is. So now let's get it tack welded and I'll bring you guys back. Very important, guys, when you're welding something like this or having to go back and redo somebody's weld work like this, it is very important when you're doing this to not just go crazy welding it all. You got to tack weld a section, make sure the door's straight, or make sure the panel's straight, tack weld a section, make sure it's straight. You know, it's a time-consuming process to do this, if done properly. Now, if you don't care what your car looks like, you can leave it just like it was and just slap the panels on there and then punt it off on an auction. But this is not going to an auction. This is going to be this man's pride and joy. That's why I'm having to put so much work into it to make it look and be exactly what he wanted. And guys, not only is it exactly what he wanted and how he wanted it, but it's also the only one in the world like this. I mean, he built his. So we're basing this car off of his video game. He plays Forza something. I don't know. I'm not a video gamer. But if I was to play a game, it would be one of the Forza games, like all that. Anyway, he built his car on Forza. So that's what we're basing this car off of. I'm building his dream car from a video game. And it really is challenging because I've never... This is farther in depth than anything I've ever done. It's just a lot when you've never done this kind of stuff, you know. I've put door poppers on cars in the past for Nopey Nationals. Telling my age there. Anybody, matter of fact, if you know what Nopey Nationals is, leave me a comment. Now here we are. She's all lined up, welded back in. Got her sanded down. I've got to put one more skim coat over this. Level this little area here out because it's still a little low back here. For some reason, both sides of this car had a big lump right through here somewhere, which is crazy because the door handle is way up here. So, I don't know. Must have been something in the stamping. And we went ahead and got the bottom side taken care of. Got that sanded down. So, the next step is to get this measured, and then we're going to cut that out. All right, guys. So, we have been hard at it, working on this car. We got the door pops in. We got all the body work done except for one thing, and that's on the far end of this hood. Now, off camera, I had the wife come out and help me get the hood off and get it set onto the sawhorses. But I figured that would be easier to get these louvers cut out. So we're going to cut those out, and we're going to replace it with a piece of that steel back there. So, yeah. Wish me luck. All right, so here it is. We got it nice and cut out. Didn't go too deep, didn't touch the underbar. Now I've got to take my little cutoff wheel and straighten this out. Ain't none of this stuff even on this car, but we're going to make it nice and rounded and then get another piece put in there. We'll use this as the template since it's still solid-ish. But if you've never looked at these to see how they made them, they actually stamped them in through the top, and it just kind of pushed all the metal out through the bottom. Now, really and truthfully, guys, the only reason I'm even doing this is because the wrap guy did not want to contend. He said this would be too much of a hassle. And since we're already sleeking the car with everything else, might as well sleek that too. So I get to cut me out a piece of this, identical to this, and then I've got to metal work it because this has a bit of a bow in it like that. So yeah, let's get to work. Product report. So we got the new piece cut out. I did cheat a little bit. So the rear filler deck panel that I welded in back here, right there, that black piece, I noticed that this has a contour in it. So I cheated. and I cut that panel out of that piece of metal. Yep. Match the contour right on up. Old, new. And everything in here is good to go. Now, granted, it's just tack welded in right now, and I've got to fill in a couple holes on it, but we're keeping original metal to the car in the car. How's that? Not that that really matters, but the fact is that's tacked in, so I've got to move on to something else right this second, but I'll bring y'all back when we get this final welded and get it ground down, so that way we can body fill it and get it ready for primer. So I'll see you guys in a second. For me, it'll probably be tomorrow. All right, ladies and gents, we got her welded in there, and those 2 little holes filled in. And this took about 2.5 hours just to weld this piece in, because you can only go a little section at a time and all that without warping it. And I still got a little warpage in it in certain areas. Not a big deal. I can get all that out. Now it's time to get that guy on here with the 36 disc on it and get the grinding away. So we're going to go back and forth, up and down, all around. So, yeah, I'm going to get at it. I'll bring you guys back as soon as I get it knocked down. So, we're still working away. Now, I've got this ready. I've got 2 little spots to fill. I've got to fill this spot here and this spot here. Maybe touch a little bit in there. But, overall, that cowl band is done. It took a lot more filler than I thought it was going to, which is still really thin. So, oh well. But it's straight as an arrow other than them 2 spots. So we'll get that put together, and then we'll get this primed and put back on the car. Let's not forget, I still have to prime the bottom side of this, which means I've got work to do on that, and which means I have to flip this over and work on that part. But guys, you can see the overall on this hood, minus all my tools and stuff sitting up there. But you can see the overall on this hood of how great a shape it was in. So, anyway, we got it all, at least the high stuff, knocked down. And I might go over it just to make sure everything's level, skim it, maybe. Or I might just hit it with some 220 and 400 just to get it all straight, and then throw several coats of high build primer on it, and go from there. And then we can get this back onto the car. Also coming up, I now understand what I've got to do with this on both sides. So I'm going to have to fill this in with metal work that, and then skim coat it, and hope that they got it in there somewhat straight. And it don't really look like it. It looks like this bottom side's a little higher. So we'll figure it out. So, and this morning we took old Blue here and went to Carter's powder coating and picked up the wheels and bumpers. Yeah, and they turned out amazing, guys. If you're in the Tri-Cities area and need some powder coating done, definitely take it to Carter's powder coating. They done an outstanding job for a reasonable price, and yeah, it looks amazing, and I can't wait to see it on the car. So anyhow, that being said, guys, we're waiting on tires to get in. This video is already making it long enough, so I'm going to cut this one off here. When I bring you back, we will be most likely filling in on 2 spots so we can get this car sanded down and into the booth for primer, so I can get it out the wrap. Okay, and then we got to get all the trim parts pieced together and figure out what all we do have, don't have, need to order, or whatever, and go from there, because all that is getting painted that same satin black. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for following along on all these that you have. And also to the nearly 50,000 people that liked the Instagram post, thank you. To the other 10,000 that liked the YouTube post, thank you. Guys, we are so close to that 500 mark. Let's go ahead and see if we can get it there, okay? We are so close. And guys, if we can make this, y'all are making my dream come true, because I just want to do this stuff and show it to y'all. So, like I said before, go follow Carter's Drag Racing on YouTube and on all the other social medias too. You got Carter's Powder Coating, Carter's Drag Racing, follow them. Top Notch Trees 23, Pole Barn Garage, Golden Rust or Bust, Bondo Billy. Definitely go follow Bondo Billy as well, because he's where I'm getting most of the ideas to do all this stuff. And guys, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you again for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. And remember, if it don't challenge you, it don't change you. Thanks, everybody.